أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى. This is lesson 18 in the course إرشاد الطلبة إلى التمييز بين القراءات العشرة. In the previous lesson we finished off chapter 3, which was the chapter on the combined applications. Where you had a particular application being applied in the qira'ah. You could not identify exactly what it was, but you could narrow it out. Maybe 2 or 3 of the qurra or ruwat. So it got a bit complicated at the end, the last chapter of Himana. But now hopefully this chapter here will be a bit easier. Chapter 4, the Farshi applications. So what we looked before was the applications in the usul. The applications in the usul are those which are applied according to a general rule. Those which are applied according to a general rule. So therefore the differences in the farush is obviously those which do not follow a particular rule. They may be divided into those which are applied consistently and those which are not. For example, the word wahuwa, some of the Qur'an will read that word as wahwa, and they will do that throughout the entire Quran. It comes many times in the Quran, and in each case they will apply it and read it in that particular way. So in parts 1 and 2, chapters 1 and 2, we looked at the usuli differences for Qalun, Warush, Ibn Kathir, Turi, Susi, Hamza, and Kisai. So by now we know how to identify those Qurra and Ruwat based on the applications in the usul. But it might be noted that for Hisham, Ibn Dhakwan, and Shu'bah, we didn't discuss anything regarding them. So up until this point, we have no way of differentiating them from the riwayah of Hafs. So in the usul, they are mostly the same as Hafs. They will have the same length of the mad, they will not have sila, they will not have sakt, and all of those other changes that we have. So therefore, we're going to be looking at some of the Farshi applications as a means of trying to identify the particular riwayat. So the first one we're looking at is Hisham. How we're going to identify Hisham is when you come across the word Ibrahim. You will read it as Ibrahim. You will read the word Ibrahim as Ibrahim. So when you hear that, then you know that you're listening to the riwayah of Hisham. Take note here that the Ya and the Alif, they are not written in the Rasm. It's just the Ha and the Mim in the Rasm. The Ha and the Mim. The Alif, the Ya, that is part of the Dad. Okay, that was added in to make it clear how to recite that word. And this is how it is written in Surah Al-Baqarah, in our Masahif, in the entire Surah Al-Baqarah. In the remainder of the Quran, then the Ya will be written there. So Isham will read Ibrahim in the entire Surah Al-Baqarah. In the entirety of Surah Al-Baqarah, everywhere the word Ibrahim comes, we'll read it as Ibrahim. In the remainder, however, you will sometimes read Ibrahim or Ibrahim. Sometimes you will read Ibrahim, other times you will read Ibrahim. But the point is that whenever you hear the recitation Ibrahim, then you know that it is the riwayah of Hisham. Remember that Hisham and Ibn Dhakwan, they are the rawis of Ibn Amir. Okay, so we're looking at the qira'ah of Ibn Amir. The next rawi is Ibn Dhakwan. How we're going to identify him is when you're looking at the words sha'a and sha'a. We'll read these words with imala. Ja'a, sha'a. He's not the only one that does this, however, of the sab'ah, of the 7 qurra, Hamza also reads the same. However, these words have a mad muttasil. You have an alif followed by a hamza in the same word. And therefore, we can now identify between Ibn Dhakwan and Hamza due to the application in the mad. Ibn Dhakwan will have tawassut and Hamza will have tul. So if you hear it being read with 4 harakat, pull to that length, then you know it is going to be Ibn Dhakwan. Shay'a, shay'a. If you hear the imana, but you hear it longer, shay'a, shay'a, then it is not Ibn Dhakwan, then it will be Hamza. Okay, so whatever tricky one the imana in Jay'a and Shay'a, but it must be done with tawassut and not tul. When you hear that, then it will be Ibn Dhakwan. And take note that that rule of Jia and Shia with tawassut being in Ibn Dakwan, that is only when we are considering the Sab'ah. If we include the Ashara, then Ibn Dakwan will not be the only one to recite in that way. Then the next one is Shu'bah, and Shu'bah will read the word Rilwan with a Dhamma and the Ra, will read it as Rulwan. He does this in the entire Quran except in one place, which comes in Surah Al-Ma'idah, where he reads Rilwan as the others do as normal. When you hear the word Rulwan, then you are listening to the riwayah of Shu'bah. So although we did mention the rules to identify the qira'ah of Ibn Kathir, which was the sila of the Mim al-Jam, there was nothing by which we can separate between these two rawis, which is Bazzi and Qumbu. So one way we can differentiate between them is by looking at Qumbu. When it comes to the word Sirat, he will read the Sad with a Sin. So he will read Sirat instead of Sirat. He will read the word Sirat, which has a Sad. He will read the Sad as a Sin. Sirat. Again, this is looking only at the Sab'ah. Looking at the Ashara, then Qumbu is not the only one to read in that way. But he will be the only one to read with Sirat with a Sin and also with Sila of the Mim al-Jam. So if you have both of those changes, then you know it is Qumbu. Although we did mention the rules by which we could identify Duri Basri, there's one very easy Farsi change that you can listen out for, which is the word An-Nas. If it has a kasra at the end, then it will be read with Imala by Duri Basri. And you will do this even if you stop on it and read the kasra as a sukun. So if you hear, for example, Surah An-Nas, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ. If you hear the imana in that word, then you know it is Duri Basri, is the only one of the 10 Qurra to read in that way. So these are some of the Farsi changes by which we can identify the remaining Qurra that we haven't learned how to discern between yet. Hisham reads Ibrahim, Zakwan reads Ji'a and Shi'a with Tawassut, and Shu'bah reads the word Rilwan as Rulwan. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.